Alright, welcome to the second video in our unit on polynomials. So, what do you call a parrot that won't eat? A polynomial? Anyway, let's move on. So today we're going to talk about multiplying polynomials, and I'm going to show you two methods to do it. And the first method is called the box method, and that's by far my favorite method. In the box, we're going to take a look at this polynomial right here, 2x plus 3 times x plus 4. Basically, every term in here has to be multiplied by each term inside this set of parentheses. And one of the easiest ways to do that is called the box method. So I take my first term, which is 2x plus 3, and it doesn't matter if I put it on the top or if I put it on the bottom. So I'm taking this term, and I am just writing it in the two boxes. So, and then my second term in this expression is x plus 4. So an x goes here and a plus goes here, the plus 4. And it's important to keep these signs with the term, keep the positive 3 and a positive 4, because if it's negative, that negative has to come with it. So then what we're going to do is we are just going to multiply this out. What is x times 2x? Well, x times 2x gives us 2x squared. What is 4 times 2x? 4 times 2x gives us 8x. What is x times 3? That's going to give us 3x. And what is 4 times 3? And that's going to give us 12. And in this case, it's a plus 12. So when we want to combine like terms or simplify this, all we have to do is look on the diagonals. So I only have one term that has an x squared, so that's 2x squared. I have two terms that have the variable x, and 8x plus 3x is 11x. And then my last term is my constant, and that's plus 12. And what I like about this box method is it puts it in standard form for you. And again, standard form means our exponents are decreasing. Constants are always last. But it also groups like terms together for you. The second method that I would like to take a look at is called the distributive property method. So I've just taken the expression that we did, the box method would, and I rewrote it right here. And the distributive property method just means that I take this 2x and I multiply it times everything in this set of parentheses. So 2x, I'm going to multiply that times x plus 4. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the 3. I'm going to multiply it times everything in the second set of parentheses. So I'm just going to multiply 3 times the quantity x plus 4. We're just distributing out that 2x, and we're distributing out the 3 to everything inside there. So if I multiply 2x times x, that gives me 2x squared, which is right here. And then now I'm going to multiply that 2x times the 4, and that's going to give me plus 8x, which is this term right here. So you can probably guess we're going to get the rest of the terms, the 3x and the 12, over here. So that's what we're going to do. 3 times x is going to give us 3x, and then 3 times 4 is 12. And so we can go ahead and combine like terms again. So we need to add these two together, and we just get 2x squared. The 8x and the 3x give us 11x, and then we're plus 12 over here. So some people choose to use the box method, some people choose to use the distributive property method. You get to choose whatever one you like best. So this box method and the distributive method can be used with expressions that need to be simplified that have more than two terms in one or more of the sets of parentheses. So this box is set up for the x minus 6 going here, and then each of those terms, the 4x squared, the minus 5x, and the plus 2, they get written on top. So we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We're going to do x times 4x squared, and that's going to give us 4x cubed. X times a negative 5x, that's going to give us negative 5x squared, and then x times 2, and that's going to give us a plus 2x. So now we want to distribute out this 6. We multiply it times 4x, 6 times negative 5x, and 6 times plus 2. And when we do that, negative 6 times 4x squared is negative 24x squared. Negative 6 times negative 5x is a positive 30x. And negative 6 times a positive 2 is a negative 12. So again, if you look on the diagonals, it has set up our like terms already. We have 4x cubed. And then if we look on this diagonal, a negative 24x squared and a negative 5x squared is negative 29x squared. And on this diagonal, we have a positive 30x and a positive 2x, which is a positive 32x. And then the last one is our constant, which is a minus 12. So if we do the distributive property method, we should get the same answer. So let's go ahead and try that one. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the x in the first term and multiply it times everything in the second set of parentheses. And I'm going to take the minus 6 from the first term and do the same thing. 4x squared, multiply it times everything in the second set of parentheses. So I'm multiplying x times 4x squared, x times minus 5x, and x times 2, and that's going to give me 4x cubed minus 5x squared plus 2x, which is what we got right there. And then the next one, negative 6 times everything in that second set of parentheses is going to give me negative 24x squared plus 30x minus 12, which is what we got right there. And again, if we combine like terms, 4x cubed is right here, negative 5x squared, negative 24x squared is negative 29, x squared, 2x, and 30x are 32x, and then just bring our constant down. Okay, so how does all this apply to a word problem? So this is our application. So we're going to start with the picture. If there's not one, you draw it, but in this case, we do have a picture. So this is asking us to find the area of the shaded region. So to do that, we have to find the area of the large rectangle minus the area of the small rectangle. And that's going to give us the area of the shaded region. So if we go back over here and look at the dimensions of the large rectangle, it's 2x plus 5 and 3x plus 1. Well, how do you find area of a rectangle? It's length times width. Same thing with this rectangle on the inside, it's length times width. So we're going to set up our equations. For the large rectangle, we are multiplying the length times the width, so it's 3x plus 1 times the quantity 2x plus 5. And for the small rectangle, we are multiplying x times x plus 2. So whether you use the box method or the distributive method, either one will work. So I'm going to multiply 3x times everything in here. So 3x times 2x gives me 6x squared. 3x times 5 gives me plus 15x. Then I'm going to do the same thing with 1. I need to multiply 1 times everything that's in here. That should be an x. 1 times 2x is 2x, and 1 times 5 is 5. And if we simplify this, we end up getting 6x squared, 15x, and 2x is 17x, and then we bring the plus 5. And from that, we have to subtract this one. So, and this is easy, it's just x times x and x times 2, so that gives us x squared plus 2x. So now we have to subtract x squared plus 2x from 6x plus 7x plus 5. And keep in mind from yesterday's notes, we have to distribute this negative out as well because we're subtracting the whole thing. So 6x squared minus x squared is going to give us 5x squared. And 17x minus 2x is going to give us a positive 15x. And then that plus 5 we can just write over here. So this is the area of the shaded region. That's what we were trying to find. Okay, two last types of examples we're going to take a look at. We're going to take a look at the square of a binomial, and this is a binomial because it has two terms, and the difference of squares. And we're going to take a look at difference means this is a plus, this is a minus. We have the same expression here except for one has a plus and one has a minus, and it's the same on this one right here. So we're going to do this one the long way, and then I'll show you the short way. So if we're doing a square of a binomial, x plus 7 squared means x plus 7 times x plus 7. So if we do our little box method, which we can do, and it's x and plus 7 and x and plus 7, when we box that out, we get x squared plus 7x plus 7x plus 49. And so if we write that out, we get x squared, 7x and 7x are 14x, and then plus 49. So the shortcut to this is called a double-double square. So we double the first one, so x squared, we square that, and we get x squared. We double the last one, 7 squared is 49, and since this is a plus, we double this by adding it, and 7 plus 7 is 14, and just add an x. So it's x squared plus 14x plus 49. And if you wanted to look at just a general formula for that, and in my opinion, I think it's easy just to multiply it out. It just means that if we have the square of a binomial, a plus b squared, we square the first term, we square the last term, and then we double the coefficients of a and b. I still think it's easier just to work it out. So go ahead and do number 5. If you want to use the box method, use the box method, and then pause the video and check your answer. Okay, so here's the answer to number 5. I did the box method instead of to multiply these two out. And again, if we look at this over here, we squared the first term. 4k squared is 16k squared. We squared the last term. Negative 3 squared is 9. We doubled the term in the middle. 4 times 3 is 12, and we doubled that, and we got 24. And again, I still think that doing it this way is easier. Okay, last two. So the difference of two squares, and difference just means here that one is plus and one is minus, and this is not the same as the one we did previously. So again, if we do our box method, we have d and plus 8 and d and plus 8. The first term is squared, that's d squared. D times 8 is 8d, and this was a minus 8, not a plus 8. So let's make sure that's a minus. So then we get negative 8d, and we get a negative 64. So when we combine these, we get d squared. These two cancel because one's negative and one's positive, and we end up with d squared minus 64. So if you have a plus and a minus, it ends up canceling out the middle term, and we are just left with d squared minus 64. Okay, so try example number 7. If you want to make the box, make the box. If you want to do the distributive property, do the distributive property. And then pause the video and check your answer. Okay, so here's the answer. So when we combine our like terms, 2c times 2c is 4c squared. Then we get 2c times 4 is 8c, negative 4 times 2c is negative 8, and negative 4 times positive 4 is negative 16. So we have our 4c right here. These two cancel because one is negative and one is positive, and we're left with negative 16. So we get 4c squared minus 16. And keep in mind, again, we can only eliminate that middle term when we have a plus and a minus, and this term is the same, and this term is the same. Okay, now it's your turn to answer video question number 1. In number 1, multiply negative 7x times the quantity 11x plus 12. And there's only one term here, so again, you are just distributing. And then choose your best answer choice. And in number 2, you have a binomial, first degree binomial, and a second degree trinomial. You need to multiply these two. So you can use the box method or you can use the distributive property method. If you use the box method, keep in mind that you have a 2 by 3 box because you have 2 terms here and 3 terms here. Don't forget to put your answers in on the Google form, and if you have any questions, please ask those as well.